All right, so one of the machine tools that we're going to be using in this class is the horizontal bandsaw. And the horizontal bandsaw you're going to be using when you are in the lathe station. So we're going to introduce one of what I would call auxiliary tools or machines, um, one per equipment, so it can be efficient on time, right? And you actually go around and you learn all of them. So we actually have two different models. So we have a smaller one there and a bigger one. The biggest difference is the feed control. So on this one, feed means how fast the blade is going to be pushed down, right? So how fast your cutter is moving against your stock, right? In this case, the feed is actually given by the weight of the cutting head, right? Which is this. For us to change the weight of the cutting head, we can actually screw in this lever here, and then that spring is going to try to hold some of the weight, right? So whenever we are cutting something that's solid, by solid means, for example, this is a solid stock, right? And then it's kind of like a easier, but sometimes we're going to be cutting something like this, right? So can you see that if I start cutting this this piece of this piece from this end, at some point I'm gonna have a big surface area to cut, right? But once I start cutting, then I'm gonna go to a smaller surface area because I only have the two sides, right? So when that happens, the feed that you need first, let's say you need more weight on the head for this guy, and then the second one, like when we get to the middle of our stock here, then we need less weight, otherwise our blade is just going to move too fast, right? So because of this sudden change, then what we do is, or what I do is, I actually keep my hand on the end here, and then as it keeps coming down and cutting, then I can actually uh, leave it or hold it more depending on how fast I want it to move as it cuts, right? So and if for because like why do we don't want to go so fast? One of the reasons why we don't want to go so fast is because if we go very fast, there is a chance that our blade is going to turn and then it's going to cut at an angle, right? Instead of cutting like a 90-degree angle, it's going to cut like this, right? The other thing that we're going to take care of is if you go so fast down, there's a chance that the teeth is going to actually bind into the material and then it's going to get stuck, right? So uh, again, like in those, like because of this reason, with these machines, we're going to be supervising the cut 100% of the time. We can't leave it here and go somewhere else, right? So again, I'm going to be holding here and I'm going to give him more weight or less weight, right, as it goes down. And then if it gets stuck, then I just pull up, release, and then I put it down again, right? One more thing, we never start the machine with the machine touching the stock, right, with the blade touching the stock, because the teeth is going to bind, right? So this machine also, so once I'm going to have you plug it in, right, I can flip the switch, so it's going to be turning on. So now I can get the head. I'm going to lower. That means after I already have my stock there positioned and secured, and then I'm going to lower as soon as the cut is 100% completed. Look, we have this piece that actually hits the power button, and then it's going to stop the cut, right? So that's an automatic, like a turn off machine, right? So this machine and this machine have the same feature, right? Both are gonna, once you get all the way to the end, it's gonna stop, right? This machine right now is actually set for a 45-degree cut, right? So that's why we're not going to be using this machine in this lab right now. So we're going to be using this one, right? The big one. So the main difference between those two, as I said, is actually how you change the feed, right? On this machine, the feed is given by how much air we get out of the cylinder, right? So we have two valves here, one that's adjustable and one that's just like an on-off valve, right? So if I let the fluid or air come out, I don't know if you can see, like I'm going to change this variable valve here. See that it's going down? If I close it, it stops. If I open it, it goes down. If I close it, it stops. All right, so this one is just like a stop and go, right? This one is what change the feed, right? So I'm going to control here. I'm going to try to show both at the same time. So I'm going to open. So now it's coming down faster. I can move it faster, or I can screw it in and make it go down slower. See? So the first thing that you got to do is you got to adjust for, so I let's see. So I would position my stock here the way, like about where about where I want to have it. I'm gonna give you like a little, like, I'm not gonna get it super tight, but just a little bit, just to hold, right? And then now I'm gonna lower so the blade is very close to my piece here, so I have a good measure of like how far this is from the marking that shows where I want to cut, right? So I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna change this so I can go faster, right? And now I'm gonna go slow so I can adjust to what's the feed that I want. So like, see, that's the feed that I want. I'm gonna allow it to get closer to my stock. It's coming down very slow. So I adjusted there, right? Now I'm gonna close my valve there. So now it's not going down. Now I can manually move. I'm gonna release my stock here. I'm gonna manually move it out a little bit just so I can cut. So this is just a test. So I wanna take as little material there as possible. Now I'm gonna crank on this side to lock it in. All right, so now I can push the button to turn on. And then now I'm gonna release this valve, so it's gonna start going down. It's gonna take off a slice from there. All right, so I can actually stop the machine by pushing the red button, or I can just wait for the machine to get to the end. So when it gets to the end, this button touches it here, and that's what makes it stop, right? So you can stop the machine by doing both, right? Okay, now you can move the head up, and we go ahead and we close this valve. Now it's locked, it's not gonna go down this, right? Now we can release our stock, and there it is, right? Thank you guys for watching, and this is how we're gonna make the cuts using the horizontal bandsaw.